Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. We now got issue 19, which is stages 61 to 64 of the IXO collections release of Build the Peugeot 205 1.9 GTI. Now, before we get into this is a really big issue. When I say big, I'm talking massive. It's actually got the main bodywork for the vehicle in, but to get to that stage, we've got to do a lot of electric. So the first two stages here, not too bad. The third stage, oh my God, and the fourth stage, oh my God. So I'm going to try and break it down so it's nice and slow so you can actually see what I'm doing if you are following along. Now, before I get onto that though, just so you know that I came back from holiday, or it must have been the end of August, and I went to visit this massively brilliant place in Glasgow called Waterside Classics, which had some brilliant classic cars, as you can see from these pictures and video here. We even got to ride in one of Buddy Holly's Buicks, which is this one right here, and we had an absolutely perfect time with Stephen McCauley driving around the streets of Glasgow. But one of the pinnacles of the visit there was this Peugeot 205, and honestly it looks just like the one we're building, and I am going to do a video just to show you all the cars that I saw that day. But it was an absolutely brilliant day. If you are in Glasgow, then by all means you really do need to try and check out Waterside Classics for some of the catalogue that they've got in there. Not just the cars for weddings or the cars that they're restoring, but there is a storage facility as well for classic cars. But I was blown away. It looked really good. Now, regarding the Peugeot, if you want to get this for yourself, I'll put the link down here to the IXO Collections website. You can get this all the way from box one. They've also got the other car at the moment, which is the Porsche 917. I've got that here as well, and that's probably going to be on the channel tomorrow. I've actually got 2 boxes of that. I've got 4 boxes of the Peugeot 205 to get through, so you're probably going to see a few of those videos in the next few weeks. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so to start off with, as you see the parts there, in stage 61 we're going to be doing the dials for the dashboard, and it's just going to be a lot more dashboard stuff that we're going to be attaching. If you remember, when we finished off last time, we were just putting the vents into the dashboard here, looking like that. So we're going to be building onto that. So this is stage 61. I'm just going to get this out, and this will make you laugh. You know, you have this thing where you could be talking about something to a friend, and then without any like typing search engines or anything like that, it's as if like the internet's been listening to you, and you get advertisements and displays coming up on your web pages for things that you had talked about. Well, look, check this out. The other day I saying I need a new sprue cutter, and IXO Collections must have heard me with this collection, because they've sent me another one. So now I've got 2 from IXO Collections, which I think is brilliant. I think more building model companies need to provide us with these sprue cutters. You can never have enough sprue cutters. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be taking the shroud cover for the dials, and we're going to be putting this bracket in, which is going to be mounting the illumination for that. It goes this way round with the small sides facing down, just over the top, so it looks like that. Going to be held in with AP screws. So that's 1, and just 1 in the other side. And that's 2. We're then going to be taking these LEDs here, and it doesn't matter which one we put in, but both of them are going into the holes at the back of those panels. So 1 in here. You want to push it tight because you don't want this falling out afterwards. And number 2. And as you can see them through the other side there. Bring over the dashboard that we've been working from, and we're going to feed this wire just through the square hole at the top there. So this goes through here. All the wires will get pulled through here, which means we can sit this on top like that. Turn it upside down. We've got 2 holes at the bottom there. That's going to be secured in with AP screws as well. 1 there, and just 1 on the other side. I think the challenge we're going to have in this stage, or this pack, is the wire tidy, because we're going to have a lot of wires. But there you go. That shroud is now in place. This is what the dashboard looks like, and that's able to have light pass through it. So we're just going to be making sure we put that in the right way around. We don't want it to be upside down. And push that into place. Now it does sit recessed in there like that. But there we go. That's what that looks like when it's in. And then we've got two buttons to put in. One's the cigarette lighter and one's an optional power plug button. Now if you see here, we've got two round holes. The optional power button is going in the larger one. So I'll put that in now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that button just in my duckbill pliers. So I get a nice lot of grip on this as I push this in. I'm just wobbling it in there so it fits in all the way. And then we've got the cigarette lighter. Don't really see much of these anymore in cars, do you? You get the port, but you don't see the actual lighter part of it, which is there. So that's those two in. And when that's done, it should look like that, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 62, we've got the fascia panel and the fuse box, or the internal fuse tray should I say. But to start with, we don't need any of that, so I'm going to put that gently to one side and bring over something we haven't seen for a while, which is the vehicle. What we want to do is we want to detach the two screws which are holding this linkage for the steering wheel in place, because we are going to be thinking about installing the steering wheel soon. So let's take these off, keep the screws secure. So I'll put the car back over here, and there is the linkage. Now we're going to be attaching that linkage to the steering wheel with AM screws. I've got the screws here. This is what the steering wheel looks like. This was all metal. As you can see, we have a place for it in here. Simply, this is just going to go over the top like that, and it's going to be held in with the AM screws. I'll put these in a tiny bit of oil because it is going into metal, and I've put it in just a little way just so I can get another one in there. And when we're happy with that, I'll tighten it fully. And now the linkage that we had on the steering rack on the car is now attached to the wheel. We can put that to one side and bring over the fascia panel, which looks like that. And all we're going to do is take the fuse card here, and that's just going to go upright through this slot here. So push this in, quite a tight fit, so it fits in like that. Now we've got a bracket to keep that into place, looking like that. That's just going to go over the top here. Keeps it straight so it's upright at the back there. Once again, held in with AP screws. And that one's too. Get these tightened up. Now that console has a down position and an up position. Just for now, it wants us to keep it in the up position. So now we're going to be marrying these two parts together. So the holes that we've got here, there's 4 holes, are going to line up with the 4 holes on the top of the dashboard here. So this is just going to go in here. The wire, let's get this one in as well, from the dashboard is just going to go over the top of this bracket here. So when that's in, it's going to look like that. This is going to be held in with AP screws. And there we go. When that's in, it should look like that. And that, looking like that, is all there is to do in that stage. Now I'm going to bring the magazine over now just to talk you through everything we're going to be doing in stage 63. We're going to be adding some more details to the dashboard, and then come the electrics. And it's not just putting the electrics onto the dashboard here, it's actually going to be mounting the steering wheel, the center console. We're pretty much doing everything, then putting the electrics into the vehicle. So there is absolutely tons to do. And believe me, there's tons of parts. So let's get everything out. So the first thing we need is the clock and ashtray panel, which looks like that. This is just going to go onto the front of the dashboard here. Can only really go in one way. It's going to sit like that, but it's going to be held in on the other side with an AP screw. I've still got a spare one of them for the last stage, so I'm just going to use that, and we'll put this into place. When I get stages like this, I think it's a case of just being methodical. Take your time. But there we go, that's in place. We're going to be fitting the fascia for the glove box, which is going to go into this area here. So quite simply, that comes through the back panel here and sits on the tray, or on the little hinges supports that we've got either side. Push it in, so that will sit in there like that. We don't want this coming out, so we've got a back panel to go in for that, which looks just like this. And all we're going to do is just push that over the top. Keep everything nicely in one place and secure that once again with AP screws on both sides. So that's one there. And one at the other side. And now there's the glove box there, and then that will enable that to open and close, no problems at all. We could put this to one side because now it's time for electrics. Now we need the cradle that all of these switches are going to be sitting into, and we've got 3 switches here. We've got the green and red switch, which is labelled S, and that's going to be going, if you look at the picture here, into this channel just here. Now they're putting it in with the wire on top and then dropping that in there. The next one along is going to be the green and yellow one, exactly the same, into the port next to it. So we've got 2 in now, and then the last one is just the grey and white lead. And that's just going to go into the very end. Now we've got a cap to put over the top of these to stop these going anywhere, which they're going to want to do. And once again, this is held in with AP screws. And that's all the switches in. Just want to be checking that when you push them, they're not moving anywhere and they're perfectly intact. So we can put that to one side. We've got some buttons now to put into the dashboard, and that's into the 3 holes that we can see vacant on this side here. Now when we put these in, there is an orientation for it. So it's the hazard lights which are going in first. Make sure they're around the right way. Then it's the rear heater, which is this one, which means the last one is just the fog lights. So there we go, they're all in, and then all we're going to do is the switch panel that we created last time, which is going to match these with the switches. Just like that. I'm going to hold it just to make sure that when I push these, each one clicks. That one's good. And once again, that's held in with AP screws. I don't mind telling you, that was quite hard to get that lined up. But as you can see, 1, 2, 3. You just want to make sure that all of those are, when you press, they're activating the button there. So all those electrics we can put to one side. We're going to be bringing over the steering wheel again. And this time we're going to be putting this into the enclosure here with the indicators. So with the steering wheel facing this way, this is going to go on top like that. Now making sure we've got the right one, the windscreen wipers will be going on the right hand side here, just into that little nest there. I'll let it hang down for a second, which means on the other way here, oops, that's fallen out, we've got the lights. Now when we're happy with how they look, we're going to be closing that off with the other side here. It's going to be a bit tricky, I think. And there we go. That was tricky, but that's in. We're going to hold this in once again with AP screws. So on this side. And then one on the other side. Now this surround is metal. This whole thing is metal, so it is quite heavy. But there we go. That's in place. So now we're going to be attaching the steering wheel to the dashboard. So we're going to pass it through this hole here and we're going to be securing it with the 2 holes at the bottom. So when we put this in, let's get this in, make sure it goes all the way through, and it should sit nicely in there, just like that. It's going to be held in the other side, different screw this time, BM screws. Drop that in a tiny bit of oil. Let's get the first screw in, that will hold that into place. And make that tight. So that one's in. Let's put the second one in. And there's the second one. So we now have the steering wheel in place there. See, it's all coming together now, because the next thing we're going to be installing is the center console, which looks like this. I'm just going to take the center part out because that's just going to go walkabout otherwise. We're going to be attaching this to the bottom of this, and if I move the wires out of the way, you can see where this is going to go, just on there. So this goes on this way round, following the shape in here like that, and that's secured in with AP screws just through the top there. And that one's number 2. Nice and tight. There we go. The center console is now in place. That's looking mighty impressive, isn't it? Now the big time comes on, because we're going to be taking the floor pan that we've got here, and we're going to be putting the dashboard onto this section here. I've kept all the wires out the way. Drop this in. Excellent. That looks good. And now we're going to screw this in. Now it's all screwed with AP screws from the underside. Probably best to look at the picture for this. But I'll start here. And that will keep the center column in place. So I'm slowly putting all the screws in here, and I'll show you what it looks like when I've actually finished. God, that was quite tough as well, but as you can see, that's all in place, nice and sturdy. So now we've matched the dashboard to the floor pan. What it wants us to do now, probably show you on the close-up camera here, is to get all of these wires that are coming out the back, just tidy them up a bit. So we're going to be putting them into this little section here, and we're going to be clamping it with a little tab that we've got, which looks like this. And when that's in, that should be on the clip just like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. That was quite a big stage. We do have screws left over, which we need to save for the next stage. The next stage is going to blow you away. So that leads us to the last stage. Now, rather than show the instructions, I think it's probably best to actually just get on with it so you can see how involved this is actually going to be. So what we need to do is we need to bring over the vehicle like this, probably best on the top camera at the moment, and also bring over the parts that we've just worked on with all of these leads coming out this end here. Now, if you look here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leads. Now all 5 of these leads need to go through the hole just at the back there. So my advice, feed them through one at a time. So looking at it from the other side, we've got 5 leads here now. We're just going to plug them into the like letters in the control board. So when they're all in, every single one of the plugs in there should be full up. Very hard to show you this, but what I'm going to do now is just put this into place on this section here so that it's actually held down. I don't want to pinch these brake lines here, so I'm going to make sure that goes underneath that, and I also don't want to pinch any wires. So now that is all encased into that section there, held in with AP screws. So it's an AP screw just into this middle one, and then a BM screw just into this bottom corner here, and then finally one more BM screw just into the top here. And there we go. That's those in place. Then we're going to be taking the heat shield, which is this section here. This came in issue 44, stage 44. This is just going to go in here like that. That's going to be held in with 3 NM screws. That's number 3. I've just wrapped this wire around here just to make it a little bit more tidy there. Now, while I've got the vehicle upside down, we can install the exhaust. We want to make sure the exhaust goes under this section here. So we're going to have to sort of like put it at an angle, then rotate it round. And by doing that, it will fit flat in that section there. Now we've got some holes here to attach this to. And that's going to be held from the other side with an IP screw. So once again, I'm going to put it on its side and get that screw in. Probably best again to look at the pictures for that. There we go, that one's in. And I've moved the camera just to the back section here because we've got a brace to put on this back section here, which looks like this. That's just going to go over the top. And that's held in with CM screws. And this will hold the exhaust very sturdy in place. And number 2. Now we need to turn the vehicle back over. We've finished working on that side now. And we need to tidy some of these wires up now. Probably best on one of these cameras, but we need the speaker wire here. We're going to want cable K, which is going to go off in both directions like this. We want cable D, which is going to go down the center there as well. And we also want cable E, which is this one here. We want them all towards the front end of the vehicle here. Let's hold all of them in place. We're going to use a black tab. Make sure this little switch is fitting flat in this section here. Just like that. And I put that brace over, and that's going to hold those wires into place there. Now we're going to be just putting in the last of these sections here. So at the back, we're going to be having one of the green wires, H wires, coming out here, which is green and red, and a blue and white and green and red coming out the other side here. We're going to want to tidy this area up here, including these pipes here. Just like that. The excess of these pipes here, which went from the brakes, I'm just going to snip. Now, hopefully one of the cameras can see, we're just going to be taking off the linkage on the steering wheel on this side here. It's just going to make things a little bit easier for us, because we're going to be connecting this to the linkage at the back of the dashboard. Again, I don't really think we need to lose the screws here, so I'm just keeping them safe. And now I'm just going to reattach it to the steering wheel at the back of the dashboard here. And there we go, that's in place. Now this steering wheel arm here is going to be going through the hole into the panel there. I'm not pinching any wires here, so I want to make sure that they're coming out of the side of the car when I put this on. And then we're going to be attaching that to the steering wheel, which is something I think I'm going to do, but I don't think it's going to be very visible on camera. You know what, that section there took me well over an hour. It's a nightmare. That's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do. But if I just bring the wheels to there, as you can see, when I turn the steering wheel, the wheels now turn. That was a nightmare, just trying to get that linkage in there. Oh my god. All we're going to do now is we're going to be fitting this cradle of the vehicle, just making sure all of the cables what I want are out the right sides. We're going to secure the actual chassis here down onto the vehicle using IP screws. Again, it's probably best to show you the picture here because I'm going to be doing it on its side here. And there we go. That's all 4 of those screws in. So now the base is in the vehicle. I've got the leads coming out the sides like they're meant to be. So we're looking good. Now it wants me to undo the battery cover as the pictures show. and put in some batteries. As you can hear, the horn works. We've got the engine noise. And then the last one we press makes the... Oh, I'll just shut that up. Oh my God. And the last one, if I just show you on the close-up camera here, as you can see, makes the instrument panel light up, come on and off, which I think's absolutely brilliant. So we have confirmed the electrics work, which I'm happy about. I'm just going to turn that off, and that's all we need to do for that car. Now, there was one other thing where I said this was a big issue, so I'm just going to put this to one side because we have got this little beast here. Check that out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my Part Work Upgrades mat down here because we just need to take off the shipping sections here and here that are holding this in place. So I'll get these off now. We don't need these. 1, 2. This just stops it deforming and twisting in transit. 3. And this is the last one here, 4. And there you go. That is looking good, isn't it? Now, I know we're not meant to do this yet, but I want to be able to display it in one piece. So eventually, this is, I'm guessing, going to go over the top of this section like this. Now, if I just push it out like this to help it go down, that'll give you an idea of how it goes. That is looking absolutely brilliant. Look at the smile on my face. We're not meant to do that yet, but you know what I'm like. Look, I'm going to show you on the camera. There is the makings of a Peugeot 205. That was hard. That was a really hard issue, but we got there in the end, and it's the perseverance. Trying to get that steerage linkage up so I can actually use the steering wheels. Oh my God, that was hard. Anyway, listen, if you want to get this for yourself, put the link down here to the iXO Collections website. You can get this all the way from pack 1. But I'm sure you'll agree, big smile on my face. I love it when you get reveals like that. That was excellent. If you like that video, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.